Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Now, this is a video that I normally wouldn't make, but I believe things are just getting too ridiculous, and I would love to speak my mind about the current situation of things. Now, lately, as of like May 4th, Detroit has been completely under fire as far as its marijuana dispensaries go, which I somewhat understand because, yes, we're trying to understand what laws should be in place for marijuana dispensaries and what is the best way to make sure and keep everything running safe so that way nobody's getting any bad weed or, nothing shady is going on within the industry. But what I find very hilarious is that now they are complaining that dispensaries are too close to each other and there's over 120 of them just within the city of Detroit. But the part that I really don't understand is that they're going to sit here and allow these dispensaries for the past 3 to 5 years. They've allowed all of these dispensaries to open up and redevelop the areas, make them look better. And yes, there are a few dispensaries on 8 Mile. Some of them are usually within 300 to 500 feet of each other, but the only reason most dispensaries are on 8 Mile is mainly because 8 Mile is full of vacant buildings. So when you have a vacant building and somebody needs one, well, it's just where they happen to be. Not to mention, most dispensaries have actually made their communities better by cleaning up the area, making the building look nice again instead of it falling apart and being in ruins constantly. But now that everything is starting to go very smoothly for dispensaries, well, they have to throw another curveball into the mix. And as of May 4th, they have basically set aside a ton of brand new laws that dispensaries have to abide by, or they will be shut down. Now, I really don't care or know what those laws really entail, but the bottom line is marijuana dispensaries should not be treated like a liquor store. Marijuana dispensaries should not be compared to a liquor store.
Apparently, that's the new mantra when it comes to marijuana medical dispensaries. Take a look. We're along 8 Mile. You see the big green sign. You can see it's right here. One small problem. Take a walk with me. If you go maybe not even half a block down 8 Mile, there's a liquor store. And according to Detroit's new laws, that's going to be a problem.
A marijuana dispensary is somewhere where somebody goes to get their medicine. Now, if you know somebody that goes to a dispensary to get all high and fucked up and get their weed, well, then you know somebody that is abusing the system. But don't call everybody bad, because we are not the bad people. Sure, there are people out there that abuse the system, just like there are people out there that abuse liquor stores and alcohol, and they drink consistently and constantly. But that doesn't make alcohol necessarily a bad thing, and I really just don't understand why Fox News and all of these other areas of news and news outlets try to portray marijuana in some form of a bad light, or in some way that is just like, if you smoke weed, you're gonna go down the bad road, and if you drink alcohol, well, you'll just be all right. There's nothing wrong with alcohol compared or according to Fox News, as you guys can see.
Most people that do smoke pot, I watch their ambition being curtailed steadily, and they never reach their potential.
A no on pot because I believe it is addictive and it leads to more serious drugs.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Nothing.
So that just really irritates the hell out of me, because I do not understand this double standard, and not to mention, regardless of what most people's opinions are, nobody has ever died or overdosed on weed. Nobody has ever really had any real issues with weed. The only controversial thing about marijuana is the very fact that you have to smoke it. Well, there are also ways around that, which they're trying to stop as we speak. We have hash oils, we have edibles, we have drinks, we have all different kinds of butters that you can throw into your food. We have tea, honey, anything that you want. So if you don't necessarily want to smoke it, you don't have to. So the very idea of trying to say that weed is bad because you smoke it, well, that just gets thrown out the window too. And this double standard with liquor stores and with marijuana dispensaries. So the brand new law says dispensaries are going to have to be 1,000 feet away from each other.
The city's new ordinance means they have to be at least 1,000 feet apart and 1,000 feet away from schools, churches, and oh yes, liquor stores.
Well, what about restaurants and what about liquor stores that serve alcohol that has already been known to kill people and completely ruin lives? Those places don't have to be with 1,000 feet apart from each other. They can be 1,000 feet within a school, or at least I've seen a few liquor stores that are well within 1,000 feet of a school. So that's all completely okay, right? Liquor stores can line up all the way down the street, and that's fine. And just like this lady says right here,
The kids were swinging their hearts out while the adults were enjoying the day. But what these friends off of 8 Mile and Van Dyke do not enjoy is the proliferation of pot shops around them.
From 7 Mile to 8 Mile, we have 12 marijuana clinics on one side of the street.
And Diane Allen, who's the head of her block club, says the city's enforcement of its new medical marijuana ordinance, that can't come soon enough.
I've lived in my house for over 40 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
Marijuana dispensaries have popped up like weeds.
You can't go a block without a liquor store being there, so it's just as bad. So now they can either get the liquor or they can get the marijuana.
yeah, you can't really compare an alcohol or a liquor store to a marijuana dispensary, and she's basically saying, well, now you can only get one or the other. You can get weed or you can get alcohol. But that's the thing. Weed should not be compared to alcohol. Alcohol is a drug that is basically used to party and have a good time, and I believe everybody knows this. But on the other hand, I don't think I've seen any cancer patients or people out there suffering from terminal diseases or back pain or all different kinds of different ailments. I don't see many of those people resorting to alcohol. As a matter of fact, if you have cancer or if you have liver problems or something very serious going on in your body, I think alcohol would be one of the things you'd want to stay far away from, and weed would be one of those things you would want to have very close to your heart because it freaking works. It helps. It helps kids with epilepsy. It helps people with cancer. It's even cured cancer in some cases. So the very idea that weed is bad and that we need to do something about this, and then Fox News basically portraying these people in the wrong light and trying to make it seem like they are for getting rid of dispensaries, you should look deeper into the problem. Why do people go to dispensaries? Why do people go to liquor stores? Why do people get fucked up in the first place? Maybe the problem stems from something much deeper because people are genuinely just trying to relax and have a good time. Maybe life is just a little bit too fucking crazy. Maybe people are just too damn fucking annoying and they just won't stop, and everybody needs something to argue for. So I just don't really understand it, guys, at all. I don't get it. And as for Fox News wondering why people are so into alcohol within America and why the rest of the world has slowed down with their drinking while America continues to speed up, well, just have a look at these commercials.
Coors Light. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Cross-brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Michelob Ultra is the superior light beer. Bud Light, here we go.
They really make it easy for you to forget about alcohol and really make it easy for you to say, I wonder if I should have a beer today. That's actually really what it makes it really easy to do.
It's Wednesday, best day of the week.
And they know exactly what they're doing, and Fox News is basically perpetuating the problem by basically admitting or making it seem like they are saying that alcohol is not as bad as marijuana. Marijuana automatically makes you stupid, according to this guy.
Pot just makes you dumb.
And that is the thing, guys, is there is this horrible double standard going on because marijuana is supposed to be the bad drug for you. And as far as people going, well, we're trying to stop kids from wanting to move on to bigger and heavier drugs.
Have kids, young kids, and there's been so much education about smoking cigarettes, and yet not as much potential education, I guess, about smoking pot as far as if you're going to talk about lungs. So why do you see this trend where people think that alcohol is more dangerous than smoking pot?
Well, as for talking about kids, I have a 13-year-old, and right now they're doing drug prevention, alcohol and drug prevention in school. And the law that has just come up has made it very difficult for teachers to talk about don't do drugs, don't get on this, and it's very mixed signals for them. But in terms of alcohol, I think that in the schools and in my son's school, what they're doing is weighting it equally as equal offenders, if you will.
Well, I think really the concern for marijuana probably in the older group is less concerning, right? I think probably the baby boomers are reliving reliving their glory days back when they were first using marijuana. I think the concern is probably really for the young people, right? We don't want young people to be introduced to substances like this, which will then potentially lead to use of maybe heavier drugs. That's really the bottom line here.
All right, changing.
I can tell you guys personally, and I've seen it happen tons of times throughout middle school and high school, if we couldn't get weed, well, guess what we went to next? We went to pharmaceuticals. And if we couldn't get that, we either tried to get alcohol. We tried to get anything. But if we would have had our weed from the very beginning, just that, which is all anyone really ever wanted, aside from having a good time, most of us probably would have just continued to smoke weed just like a normal person. But when you start to take your weed away from you, and then when you start to take all different kinds of pharmaceuticals away, and then you start taking the medical marijuana dispensaries down and all of the wax and all of the edibles, people are just going to resort to the very same things they used to in the past. Pharmaceutical drugs, alcohol. So by shutting down dispensaries within Detroit, all it does is make our situation worse, because there are tons of people out there that rely on weed just like people rely on smoking a cigarette. Not saying that's a good thing, but people also rely on Tylenol and Advil every day too, and that's not really a good thing either. So what I really think people need to do is stop dipping their fingers into situations they don't understand, like our congressmen, like the people that vote for us, and the people that put up these very regulations and laws that are now having to make tons of dispensaries either move locations or shut down. And realistically, I just see it as an attack on the little guy, because they waited 3 to 5 years, like I said, to shut down the dispensaries. And now that they've gotten everything all set up and all the buildings are looking nice, now they're going to tell them they have to move. Makes no sense to me at all. And when people like this lady on Fox News...
So the mantra in real estate has always been location, location, location. Well, apparently that's the new mantra when it comes to marijuana medical dispensaries. Take a look. We're along 8 Mile. You see the big green sign. You can see it's right here. One small problem. Take a walk with me. If you go maybe not even half a block down 8 Mile, there's a liquor store. And according to Detroit's new laws, that's going to be a problem.
So when people like this lady make stories about medical marijuana, and you can tell she has no idea what she's talking about, because she even tries to make it sound like marijuana is a bad thing just by her demeanor and the way that she acts during the video. So she basically gives you that really dirty look because there's an alcohol or a liquor store down the street from this dispensary. And like she says, that's going to be a problem. Well, why isn't it a problem for the liquor store? Why is it a problem for the dispensary? So that means if we have 2 different liquor stores open up, do they have to be within 1,000 feet of each other? I'm not too sure, but I've seen tons of them right next to each other all the time, all throughout Detroit. Why don't we have talks about that? Why are liquor stores allowed to be within 1,000 feet of each other? Why can't a marijuana dispensary be right down the street from a liquor store? They are 2 totally different things. Regardless of what people do in their personal time, that is their own business. But I believe medical marijuana is exactly what it says, medical. It has nothing to do with a liquor store. So this is just their attempt at controlling the entire situation, and give it 3 to 5 years and I'm sure everything will be completely government owned or government ran, or have some sort of government tax on it that basically makes it not even feasible anymore. So this whole situation just irritates the hell out of me, because I smoke, and I don't really care what you guys think about that. I'm an ADHD person. I have OCD. I have problems. But when they take away my dispensary, it's like taking away my medication, and I start to kind of lose it a little bit. There's nothing wrong with having a weakness. There's nothing wrong with admitting to it either. And the very problem, though, that they don't see who they're hurting. They just think they're constantly helping people. Like when they took wax away and they took edibles away. What about all of those cancer patients and little kids that have epilepsy and things like that going on in their life that are much more complicated and much worse than some stupid little regulation or requirement, and trying to make those people out to be criminals is just sad. So to wrap this video up, guys, I'm just going to say that Fox News really needs to grow up and literally smell what they're shoveling, because they're doing the very thing that they complain about. Now we're wondering why people are drinking more. Well, you guys constantly advocate it with commercials, and you guys do Mimosa Mondays. I mean, here, just have a look.
It's Wednesday, best day of the week.
Great job getting us drunk.
We could all use a stiff drink.
Fantastic margarita day.
If you're not going to drink it, pass it around.
I haven't had a beer in ever.
Would you like a beer?
How are you guys spending New Year's Eve?
I'm going to get real drunk.
So by making videos like that and doing Good Morning America and all different kinds of shows about beer, booze, drinking, making mimosas, blah, 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 there's no wonder why people think alcohol is great and weed really isn't. You guys sensationalize the hell out of alcohol on a regular basis. And to be honest, I don't know how anybody at Fox News, even the camera guy, I don't know how they sleep at night because they openly lie fucking constantly. But with that being said, guys, I hope I've opened your perspective on medical marijuana dispensaries within Detroit and the bullshit that follows it. Because like I said in my previous video, wherever there is money to be made, there is bullshit following it. So with that being said, guys, remember to like, subscribe, and comment only if you want to. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.